Going to score his third win in 4 races. Road America to Dylan Parker. There's a photo of J.W. Miller with his father on the front straightaway at the Brickyard. Now he's actually going to go to victory lane at the Brickyard. J.W. Miller wins.
It is Wednesday night, and it is time to have some fun on one of the oldest tracks in all of the United States of America, the Milwaukee Mile. It is exactly 1 mile long. It is a track that has sat here since 1906, beginning as a horse racing track, then a traditional dirt track, and now asphalt and 1 mile. The Milwaukee Mile. That is where we are tonight. West Allis, Wisconsin, just to the west of Milwaukee. It is race number 7 of the GLSR Black Horizon Truck Series season as we get you ready to rock and roll here from the Milwaukee Miles. We welcome you in to the Captain Esports Network. I am the Captain. We appreciate you joining us here on this Wednesday evening. It's going to be a great race, and boy, do we have a lot of history to talk about with this track. And I'm not talking about just like the basic history of this track. I'm talking about like history with this series and this track as we welcome you in and talk about this 1 mile oval, very flat, 6 degrees of banking in the corners. You're going to see some slipping and sliding and so much more. Here on this 1 mile track, 83 degrees, 47% humidity under partly cloudy skies as we get ready for the GLSR 150 here in the Black Horizon Truck Series season. So where are we on the map? That is a fantastic question, and we show you that right about now. It's the Milwaukee Mile, just to the west of the city of Milwaukee. We zoom in to a city that is all about its beer, its brats, its baseball, and so much more. The Milwaukee Mile, the 1 mile track, as I mentioned, unfortunately kind of sitting there right now collecting dust as nobody's really racing at it. But there's been rumors of this track maybe seeing some racing again. Could be NASCAR. IndyCar this a very fun track to race in an IndyCar, so I could be cool seeing that. But unfortunately, nothing as of right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit there, Mr. Fronto. But the grid is forming right now, and before we show you that, let's show you the point standings as we enter race number 7. And after a bunch of wild card races, we finally kind of get back to a traditional track. Fontaine leads this by 131 points over Ricky Springer. Lucas Strayer there in 3rd. Luke Daniels, Alex Cummings, your top 5. You go all the way down to 10th, where Dane Cruz, who scored the win a couple weeks ago, is 10th in points. Telder right there on the edge in 11th. And you look from 10th place down to 20th. It is all of 108 points. That's a pretty tight grid when it comes to the point standing. So a lot to go and a lot to give. And make sure you do get over to the fantasy page right now at GLSR.com if you haven't already. And you can get your fantasy lineup put together before the race starts. Here is the lineup for the 3rd race here at the Milwaukee Mile. Sam Fontaine, he's getting hot when it counts, as he's on the pole alongside Ricky Springer. Ricky, in a revenge race, I should say, for him at this track. Ben Pierce, Stephen Miles, maybe a revenge race for him for what happened at Talladega just a week ago. Jason Dalton, Luke Daniels, row 3. Row 4, Brandon Alphin and Lucas Strayer. Luke Knupp, Bryce McCune in row 5. Row 6, J.W. Miller, Sean Peachin on the 6th row. As I mentioned, row 7, that is Drayton Cook and Matt Telder. Alex Cummings, Jeremy Freer in the 16th spot. Will Martin, Brian Sutphin in row 9. Row 10, Alex Bryson looking to break the slump he is in alongside Caden Atkins. Tim Abril, Sam Barnes there in row number 11. Row 12, Dalton Wilson, Blaine Sparling. Row 13, Jason Branch, Tyler Brewer, Drift, and Christopher Dean, Cedric Ingram, and Casey Duncan going to be the 30 cars, or trucks in this case, that'll start this 150-lap, 150-mile race on this flat Milwaukee Mile. Who is going to go to victory lane? A lot to talk about, some news to share. And either way, we're back on track another Wednesday night here on the Captain Esports Network. Hello to the viewers. Drift, of course. Josh Gagnon, hope your cankle's feeling better. Of course, Angel Volante watching. And you are watching on the Captain Esports Network as the pace car will hang a left on one of the trickiest pit roads you'll ever race on, as Fontaine and Springer bring them to the green flag in Milwaukee. Get to the bottom as quick as you can is going to be the way to do it tonight. You see the dark black on the inside. Basically, there is a strip there, and the grip is all in that strip. Say that 3 times fast. Fontaine leads him down to turn 3, and here comes Springer. Our camera is presented tonight by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook. They are in the iRacing forums. And their website, of course, is TrackCams22.com. As I think Fontaine led lap 1 barely. Dives it in there. Seeing some double file racing, people trying to get their track position. You're almost going to see a race tonight that's going to look like a big version of Martinsville, I think. And what I mean by that is cars right down on the bottom lane. You see Luke Daniels losing a spot to one of the faster trucks in all of practice there, being the 4 truck of Jason Dalton, looking pretty solid right now. You can hear these trucks kind of sliding around. First couple laps are going to be loose, and they just start getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So the big news of the weekend, or the week, I guess, since we've last raced, sort of has to do with that white and blue 7 truck and others this past week. Of course, when we went off the air, it was the Dane Cruz truck in victory lane. However, after that race, the win was taken from Dane Cruz, given to J.W. Miller, and Cruz was penalized to finish 2nd in the end. And that left Talladega with that. And then the next night, and I really haven't talked about this much, because I've kind of wanted things to settle down and break out the news and not kind of get into a he said, she said fight or anything like that, but just kind of bringing out the news in the league here. But an incident happened in another league race on Thursday night last week involving Matt Telder and the 2 truck in this league, and pretty much some of the drivers of TI Racing, not any of the guys in this field. That led to some things being said, and what was said, what was not said, that's basically for them to discuss and that kind of thing. But for a little bit this week, Asheville Rooftops was not going to be on the truck, but they have decided to come back, and they are still on the TIX trucks for the rest of the season, so good news there for those guys. And hopefully that whole situation in the other league gets itself settled out. That's all I'm going to say about that. Leave it alone. So that was the big news this week. Otherwise, we're here at the Milwaukee Mile racing. Everybody kind of single file hanging out. And, of course, the history of this track in this series, it is pretty big. And not only that, here comes Ricky Springer. It's kind of ironic because this involves him, what I'm about to talk about. Last time we were here, we go all the way back to season number 5. And Ricky Springer went on, or I'm sorry, it was season 3. Ricky Springer had dominated the whole entire season. And we come to the Milwaukee Mile. 150 lap race. We go green. There was just one small problem. When the settings were set for the race, they put it in for a late afternoon setting. If you look around the track, there are lights. Well, at least you can't see them from the screen here. I'm actually looking for them. You don't see the lights here. There are actually lights at the Milwaukee Mile in real life, because I remember back in the day, truck and Xfinity races used to run under the lights here. However, iRacing does not have a lights setting. As Fontaine gets to the inside of Springer here for the lead, Ben Pierce having a great run to start off his race here there in the 3rd position. So, with that said, Unfortunately, the track started getting dark, and it got darker, and it got darker, and I think it was like lap number 79 or 80 or something. It was past halfway. They threw a caution, they being the GLSR guys, and after some discussion, decided we're going to put up a second session, and a certain amount of drivers, I think it was like those on the lead lap or those still running or whatever, could come over to that session and finish the race. Ricky Springer had run away with the show that day. He had led about all the laps in the race. And one small issue comes up. For some reason, Ricky's computer starts having issues, and he was unable to rejoin the race and ended up credited with a 22nd place finish. So there's where the revenge for him comes in tonight, potentially. We've made sure this session is early enough. This will finish during the daytime today. So Springer and Fontaine swap out the leads here. So it's enough about stories. Let's go enjoy the broadcast now and enjoy the race. Back here, Luke Strayer, the 41 truck. J.W. Miller there behind him. Brandon Alphin up in front. Brandon's had some rough races here the last few weeks, looking to get himself a good finish. Looking up right now in the 8th position. So we arrive at the 29 truck. A little loose there on the entry. Going to get real tight here center. You just got to let the corner roll. And then roll back to the throttle. A little defensive move by Knupp, and Strayer dives it in there. A little short tracking, if you will, here, which is not surprising. Sometime at this kind of tracks, you just got to throw it in there and see what you get out of it. I'm just realizing you guys aren't getting any audio at all. Thanks for your help there, Fronto. I haven't heard any shifting yet. So Springer's lead right now, 3/10 over Fontaine, and Ben Pierce is about 2/10 back. And it's about half a second to Miles, and then Jason Dalton, your top 5, as I mentioned. Yeah, I think the gear is too long for them to shift. As Knupp gets a little free off the corner, you see some cars, some trucks getting snappy. That's basically from them just turning the wheels so much, they're getting snappy loose, a tight loose condition, if you will. Guess I should say hi to Kevin Davis. I have you're sitting there talking. I'm like, man, I ain't even introduced Kevin. I guess it's going to be one of those nights. But Kevin Davis joins us, of course. He's the admin here of the series and joins me, just gives me some updates. But Kevin, do me a favor, repeat what you just said because everybody did not hear you.
Oh, I was just talking about, I've heard some of the drivers complaining about redlining coming out of the corners down the back straightaway, and or about mid straightaway. They feel like they're starting to chip out. I don't think we're going to be seeing any shifting this race. It sounds like the setup's got the gear kind of right there at the max. I don't think there's any room for going down.
So you said that's only happening on the back straightaway?
That's honestly what I've heard from a few of the guys towards the middle of the back of the pack. Some of the other guys in the front really haven't complained. They've said that that's just how the setup runs. But, I mean, honestly, I don't know if they're just happen to be getting out a better run out of 2 for that to happen, or if it's just, you know, whatever the case may be. I'm not sure.
That's interesting because you got symmetrical corners here. I mean, they're both the same distance and stuff. So I wonder if they're just carrying more speed through 1 and 2 and coming off the corner and whatever. But that's interesting to know. But yeah, Kevin's going to be here admitting. What do you expect here tonight, man? Milwaukee's I called it a little bit ago a big Martinsville, if you will, because everybody's kind of on the bottom the whole way. But it's such a track that you got to be patient through the corners. You got to take care of the right front.
Yeah, I mean, tires are definitely going to be a game here. It's an abusive track, but I think honestly it's going to make for some good racing. I like see how they're kind of stretched out now. We've got 150 laps. There's no sense in pushing the issue this early on. We're not even 20 laps into this. I think it's going to be a really good race. Hopefully we keep it clean, and I think there'll be some passing here and there, especially as tires fall off. People are going to be pushing and leaving that bottom open, and we'll see who can save their tires and make them last the longest, and see who starts moving forward.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I think pit window is going to open up around lap 50, make it a two-stop race likely to the finish, and you might see some people stretch it as far as they can. I could probably see maybe 70, 75 laps, if not longer, on a tank of fuel here with the less throttle time. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, as lap traffic will probably come into play here as you watch the 8 of Drayton Cook look inside of William Martin. This is back at the 15th position here, is that PTP number 8 truck makes the pass 4 position. And yeah, I mean, pit strategy is going to play a big role, I think, in this race. You're going to see some comers and goers. People are going to wear out tires, so looking forward to what we're going to see tonight, Kevin, and hopefully you won't have to work too much. Kevin Davis, of course, working as the admin tonight. As you see, Caden Atkins working inside Alex Bryson. Bryson, I had talked to his team owner, Chris Lewis, who when we were talking about, I didn't even know this stat, and he brought it up to me. He goes, "Hey, Skygala." Apparently that's my nickname for them. Bryson hadn't finished a race this season yet. It's like, wait, what? I didn't even know this stat. But yeah, Bryson has not been to the finish of a race yet in GLSR. Poor guy. And we're 7 races in after tonight. So hopefully tonight it's just one of those nights where he's trying to get a top 20 finish or something. And can take care of himself. We got a battle here as Luke Daniels was passed by Dalton just a little bit ago, but he has not let him get away. These trucks should be slowing down enough now with the wear that this chip should be avoidable for the most part now. So we'll have to listen here. A little bit there. Almost use it as a brake marker now. Down to turn 1 and 2. Going to climb that curve a little bit, maybe to help the truck turn if you're tight. Roll back throttle. A little bit of the chip there at the end. So one thing that can be considered tonight also for this race, this is, I think, time-wise, going to be one of the longest races of the season. And I say that because, you know, they're running lap times around here at about 30, 31 seconds right now. 31.3 for the leader last time by. And you use a track as like Charlotte or Texas or something like that where you run about 30-second laps around there. Usually those races are about 120 laps, which is 180 miles. Here tonight we're going straight up 150 miles and 150 laps because it's a 1-mile track. But the amount of time it takes to run a lap, this is going to be one of the longer races this season for the series. So, you know, obviously it's another point to take care of these trucks when you're out there on the track. When you see these guys 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th all joining this battle here as the top 4 have pulled away. Behind that man right there, Ricky Springer, the Ghost Toyota, coming up on lap traffic already. Casey Duncan going to be the first truck. To get lapped, it looks like, by the 51. Ben Pierce putting some pressure there on Fontaine. Pierce having a fantastic run. I was kind of caught off guard by Ben running up there in the top 5 in practice. I was like, man, I even made the joke, did Ricky run his lap too? But no, Ben's doing a great job in all seriousness. 1.5 back. So tonight's the start of 3 straight either low bank or short track style races coming up here these next 3 weeks as we continue green here. Let's take a look at what we have coming up here for you for our schedule the next 3 weeks here on the Captain Esports Network, and of course the series. Tonight it's Milwaukee Mile. Next week we go to Myrtle Beach. Halloween time on the beach. Should be some fun there under the lights. And then it's Nashville Fairgrounds for the 9th race of the season. So we go from a 1-mile traditional oval to a D-shaped half-ish mile oval to a 0.6 mile high bank traditional oval at Nashville before we finish off the regular season at the Michigan Speedway. So, interesting. And there's Casey Duncan going a lap down to the leader. Already 29 laps into this race. Assuming a lot of these trucks probably feeling really tight right now. Haven't really seen too many trucks snapping loose. Let's go back here. Is William Martin under attack as Caden Atkins inside in the 56 truck. And he'll pass the 00 spot for position. Appreciate everybody watching tonight on the Captain Esports Network. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, and also on Twitter if you're watching over there too. Mr. Gagnon kind of brought up something earlier about a charter. Starting Friday night. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Starting Friday night, we're going to have some fun and kind of tying it all together to the broadcasting we do here on the Captain Esports Network. I am actually just purchased the flight simulator sim, and it's actually, I've paused the downloading to broadcast this race. We'll get back to work on it after the race, but you'll be able to, when I get home each afternoon for a race, if I get home early enough or that kind of thing, or even some nights, maybe the night before, I will put on a stream that night of the captain flying to said city or track to get ready for the broadcast. Figured that'd be a kind of nice little tie-in to each race. So, like, for instance, if I get done with the download tonight, you will likely see me fly back to my hometown where I live, and then tomorrow night or Friday I'll fly to Richmond, Virginia, and get ready for that race, and then I'll come back, and then wherever VOR is, I think they're at Pocono. I'll be flying to Pocono, Pennsylvania on Saturday. So I'll have some fun with that, kind of tie in a little realism to the broadcast and things, and stream it over on the Twitch channel. Will also help build that back up a little bit, because I know Twitch I don't get to use too often. Last night I was actually doing some trucking on there, American Truck Simulator, and having some fun on that. And Stephen Miles, I've got him all into trucking now all of a sudden. He's like, hey, that's pretty cool. You almost hit that car. Yeah, that happens a lot. Anyways, Ricky Springer leads 1.4 seconds over Fontaine. There is Sammy in the 77 truck. Ben Pierce running third right now, and Dalton Wilson with issues, bringing out the caution. The 20 truck on the back straightaway here brings out caution number 1. You might notice the PTP colors on that truck, much like the 38 and others. That's basically the coffee sponsorship, which of course was the Bully Dog Coffee Company, has moved their sponsorship within TI to one of their leagues, and because of that, obviously had to withdraw their sponsorship. So unfortunately, looking for sponsors if you've got a company out there. See Dalton trying to get around Sam Barnes, and something we saw a lot of in practice, loose off, and man, absolutely smacks that inside wall right near the tire barrier. And that brings out caution number 1, Dalton Wilson. Has a damaged front end and an EOL coming his way, unfortunately for that. Let's look at it one more time. That was actually Drift going by, not Sam. Just too much throttle. And got hard into the barriers. Unfortunate deal there. Pit stops underway. Everybody in. One of the trickiest pit roads to get onto is Caden Atkins going to do some tire strategy, it looks like. Christopher Dean. Alex Bryson. Oh! The tire moves.
Sounds like we've got
miss
2
their
or
pit
3
stalls?
guys. Yeah, Sounds like their
Oh.
spotters aren't calling out their pit stalls, and a few guys have missed their pit stalls here on pit road.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the telemetry over here on my timing and score, and I'm like, wait, did they miss their stalls? And, well, I guess so. Interesting. So let's watch here, and we'll talk about this pit road here for a second. Look at this thing. You got to cross that yellow line, and then you turn left in the middle of the straightaway. The only pit road I know of outside of a road course that goes like this. So that means if they didn't get their countdown on, more than likely, I know iRacing has a countdown, but most people like myself, I'll use sim racing apps. Crew Chief app has a countdown, but 9 times out of 10, you have Crew Chief apps or whatever that'll actually tell you. You just watch Caden Atkins' pit stop right there. Will tell you, hey, you're 5 away, 4, 3, and they'll count you down to your stall and go from there. But unfortunately, for a few people, yeah. All right, let's go ahead.
Sounds like an unfortunate event. The guys are actually saying that their second time back around when they pitted, they're actually getting the countdown now. So it might have just been some kind of glitch in the system.
I've had that before. I've had that before on either even sim racing apps. Sometimes it'll be like, wait a minute, it didn't count me down. But thankfully, I caught it and kind of knew where my pit stall is. So that's definitely sort of alarming. But let's bring up a driver real quick. I'm going to have a word with before we go green, and that's Ben Pierce here in the 18 truck. Ben running up there in the top 5. Hopefully he'll activate his microphone and actually want to talk to me here for a second. I mean, he gets his 5 seconds of fame here. Right.
Going on, Scala?
Hi, Ben. Yeah, hey, buddy. I know you're about to go green here. Impressive run so far up there in the top 5. How's the truck feel?
So far, so good. It's gets a little squirrely as the run goes on, but take care of the throttle, take care of the tires, and you'll be all right.
Got an egg underneath that throttle?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, my man. Well, best of luck here coming to the green and running into 3rd position. Just follow Ricky. You'll be okay.
That's the plan. Thanks, Cal.
Attaboy. Ben Pierce running in the top 3 right now as we get him down to his 518 Motorsports, following his teammate there in the lead, that being Ricky Springer as they bring him through turn 3 and 4. Fontaine outside with Pierce and Miles. And Jason Dalton inside there. Dalton, a good flat short track racer. Not surprised to see that 4 truck running up front right now as we go back to the green flag. Pace car hangs a left about now. And there they go.
Uh-oh. We had some...
Oh, big wreck! Miles involved. Dalton just got T-boned by Strayer. And we got a pile up over here in turn 1. JW Miller's up in smoke. And is that Fontaine on the outside wall? It sure is. What in the world happened? That was UGLY. Let's... Okay, Sam, something happened to Fontaine there, and it happened really quickly. Let's back
thinking he might have missed a shift.
Let's find out. Let's see the replay here first. Ricky takes off. Yeah, Fontaine doesn't go. Daniels gets in the wall. Miles gets turned. JW T-bones the wall and then gets hit by, I think that's one of the Red Sim Design trucks there in the middle. That's Jeremy Freer. A lot of trucks destroyed in this. I see 3, at least, of the TIX trucks. I see Sean Peachin from Down Under. A couple Down Under trucks involved in this. This is not good. Let's go on board with... I hit the stop button a little early. Let's go on board with Sam, and we will hear probably what happened. And if we don't, that might answer some questions. Okay, so the truck didn't shift into gear at all. So there's a couple of things here. One, Fontaine could have black screened or something that allowed basically what happened is his throttle got stuck because it was sitting there just pegging the whole time. So that tells me it was either a black screen, his paddles could have went bad. That's exactly what I was about to think of, Josh. That's number 2. Or 3, he just couldn't get the thing shifted. Now, if he's had paddle issues, then that's probably going to where I'm going to lean towards. Because it literally sounds like his truck gets pegged into gear. It does not shift. And especially if you have it to where you're not blipping, you're blipping yourself basically, then that's going to happen. If you have auto blip on, it'll shift itself. But in this case for Sam, and 99% of iRacers don't use the auto blip, so let's listen again here. You know what? He's trying to shift. Because listen really closely, he tries to shift. And the only reason I say that is because when he pegs to 8,000 RPM, usually the truck will stay there if he's having a throttle issue. In this case, it's almost like he's trying to shift by, and you'll hear the RPM drop for a second. He's trying to blip it, and it's not working. Every time it drops in RPM, he's trying to shift. Telder involved. Add him to the list. Bryce McCune involved. Cedric Ingram with damage. Caden Atkins with damage. Santa Claus with damage. Kevin Davis with damage. That's an unfortunate deal for a lot of drivers right there. See, behind the wall after that whole deal, we got Bryce McCune, Sean Peach, and Jeremy Freer. J.W. Miller's behind the wall. Others have stayed on track. Stephen Miles on pit road after his unfortunate deal last week at Talladega. And it's just shook up the field big time. And once again, controversy at the Milwaukee Mile. And the screen just like flickered, like the lights were... What in the world's going on here? This race is haunted. All right, Ricky Springer, now teammate Ben Pierce on the outside, looping up. And Brian Sutphin, Blaine Sparling up to 5th as we go back to green. Jason Branch, 12 truck, top side there, trying to get around Sparling. This is a big points opportunity for a lot of trucks that maybe are struggling. A lot of position to be gained here. A lot of damaged trucks now because of that accident. The jump up here. To mention, of course, you do have the Fantasy Racing. Hopefully you did put a team together tonight. And of course, that's presented by Butt Kicker. They have the Fantasy Prize, and another person tonight will get their name put in a raffle for being the top point scorer tonight after Milwaukee. Of course, Edwards Setup Shop, the official shop of GLSR. And apparently our trouble. Brandon Alfin has gone around over here in turn 1 and 2. The struggles continue for Season 6 champion. But I was about to mention, apparently the podcast is the sponsor tonight, here for the GLSR 150. As the third caution is out for Brandon Alfin. See what happens to him there. He's got Dean on his inside. Can't tell if that's Drift or if that's Sam there in front of him. Oh, and they door bang each other into the corner, and around goes Alfin. Slight damage to the outside wall. Let's see it again here. Third caution, lap number 47. Just racing, unfortunately. But we do got some trucks coming to pit road. Probably more damage getting fixed on these trucks. Dalton, Martin, Telder, Miles, Daniels, Fontaine, Drift, and Cedric Ingram all to pit road here. But yeah, big shout out to those sponsors, though, of course, as part of the league. And always a reminder, you can check out GreatLakesSimRacing.com to get league information and stuff, for news to fantasy racing team points right now. Of course, all the schedule, driver points, and get to know the drivers over at the website at GreatLakesSimRacing.com as we come up on the 1/3 distance. Sam's sitting there on pit road, and I want to take a minute here. Let me bring Sam up. I know Sam will probably talk what happened here a little bit. Let's get him up here with me here for a second. Sam, you got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know you're trying to get damage fixed. I know it's an unfortunate deal. Did it just not shift, or was there a paddle issue?
I guess it's a paddle issue. I really don't know. Like on that restart, I just completely leave the throttle, upshift the gear, and I noticed that I never heard like the gear going in. So
Right.
when I did that, I did upshift a second time, and I saw Jason on my bumper. So I went back on the throttle thinking it went in and never went. So I don't know what happened. I will have to relook at the replay, but I thought that I did everything good there. And I mean, I don't know. So it's unfortunate.
It sounds like, because I went on board your truck and was watching, it almost sounds like the blip wasn't taking. And I assume you don't run auto blip, correct?
No, I don't run auto blip. But normally, like, I don't know. Normally it goes in. Certain cars don't, like the street stock or those kind of
Right.
car. But this one should, and I don't know. Something happened that I will have to look at the replay, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is.
It's unfortunate, mostly for like the other guys.
Right. Well, it's unfortunate for you two and the others, but no, I just wanted to check with you because, like I said, went on replay, and Josh mentioned in chat that maybe it was your paddles or something like that. But just listening, you could hear your revs going down like you were trying to shift. And it just seemed like the blip might not have worked. But either way, man, tough break. Continue on, and we'll talk here later.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, buddy. As Fontaine runs in the... where do I got him listed right now? 15th position after all that. So as we go back to green here on lap number 51... Interesting stuff. A lot of the Red Sim design trucks up there in the top 6 right now. Of course, the 518 team running up front right now, first and second, those two Toyotas. Brian Sutphin up there in the 4th position as we go back racing. Good restart for Springer. I'm kind of surprised they're not doing a tandem type of restart thing where maybe Springer starts on the outside, gets the jump, and moves down to keep him on the bottom. But either way, this works too. See Jason Branch here in that Limeade number 12. We got Alex Cummings back there in the 63 looking good. Trying to break out a little slump he's been in. Drayton Cook there in the 10th position. He and that TI team trying to break the slump that they've been running in right now. So we just passed the 53 lap mark. here. A couple of trucks that were involved in some of those accidents. There's Jason Dalton. You see the grill damage on the outside there, that 4 truck. The 7 is Stephen Miles. Damage here, I mean, you could be okay. You do need some downforce to get the truck to work here. But as long as you don't destroy the engine, you should be okay for the most part. Hello, Delaney Reynolds. Appreciate you watching as always. Your boyfriend has done a great job with me on Sunday nights over at Sim 500. Big shout out to Ricky for what he's done so far in the first 3 weeks. Been a lot of fun working with him. On the back straightaway into turn 3, you see William Martin there in the 10th position. That wreck at the restart definitely shuffled up this field a good amount. As I look right now, we've got $19 trucks on the lead lap, and I was wondering when somebody would bring it up. Yeah, JW, unfortunate, but some people have had some interesting comments about the setup being ran here tonight. But either way, it's the situation we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's outsourced through another setup shop, so it's not like anybody's got favoritism. Makes it fair for everybody. Unfortunately, iRacing doesn't have a setup for this track, so I mean, they're doing the best they can with what we got. So
pretty much, that's pretty much. No, and you know what? Everybody's got the right to have their feelings and stuff like that, and some people are gonna like it. Some people might halfway decent like it. Some people are gonna hate it, and like you said though, and everybody's got to run it.
Yeah, I'd say that the admin have tried to make it as fair as possible, and unfortunately, sometimes it just comes up a little short. And they do their best. So at the end of the day, I mean, you're going to get a race out of it. Unfortunately, some people just aren't going to be able to run at their best because of it, but others might hopefully have that driving style that will adapt directly to it and might actually run decent today.
You could say Ben Pierce is one of those guys. he's
definitely showing a lot of speed today. So
yeah, he's running well there in second. Luke Knup's there in third. As we watch William Martin, as we look up at the limeade truck of Jason Branch, the Virginia driver there, former member of the military, part of the 4X team there, as Martin kind of gives them some space into the corner so you don't run him over. Look at all that wheel he's got in it.
Yeah, that does not look healthy for that right front.
So his hands basically are the perfect tight loose here. So he gets in the corner, you see him going right a little bit. That's the loose, and here he gets tight now. He has to crank the wheel, and then he gets back to the throttle. He's got to go back to the right now because the back end wants to switch ends again. Now, if this was an open setup, you would want to fix the tight side first, because sometimes fixing the tight will fix the loose.
Yeah, I was watching Ricky earlier, just kind of paying attention to how he was getting down in the corners, and he was almost jumping over the rumble strip down in 3 and 4, and you could just see him struggling some laps that it just get really wobbly and loose on him, and he doesn't recover the car.
That's kind of what you might want to do, though, in the long run, because think of it as a road course. These stock cars, or in this case trucks, when you're on a road course, the curb's what helps you turn. And so put that left front up there and see if it can help de-wedge the truck and get it rotated through the corner a little bit better. I mean, some are going to get it better than others, but you never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think it might possibly be a double-edged sword as well, though. I mean, it could help you, but if you're not experienced in it, some guys start trying it, what other guys are, they could just completely unbalance their car and wipe out in the middle of the corner, and we might have another episode of what we saw earlier.
Yeah, we don't
Hopefully
want that.
That's not the case, so.
We don't want that. Take that thought back.
Go back to that. Green flag from here on out.
There you go. I like it. I like it. So Martin getting past Branch, and you see Branch actually falling back 3 spots here. Bryson going by. Drayton Cook goes by also. And old Sammy B there, podcaster. That 22 truck, I've out called him 22nd position. He's actually running in the 12th position right now as we complete 62 laps here in this 150 lap race. Springer, Pierce, Canup, Sutphin, and Atkins your top 5 here. Stephen Miles there trying to get up to the back of the 22 truck after the damage in that big wreck. And then how about this? A battle for 6th. And Blaine Sparling, a little defensive move, and unfortunately it causes him to take a bad angle into the corner there, and Cummings gets a run. Very defensive on the 59's part there. Surprised by that. He'll make Alex take the long way around here. And that's going to actually open the door, and he got the curve a little bit there. That might hurt him. William Martin might split the middle, as I think Lucas Strayer is blown up. 41 off the pace. That might bring a second, or a third, where are we at? 4th caution. As Lucas is trying to get it back to pit road in a 41 truck. So 1 week after the TIX guys take the points lead in the team, they're all having issues tonight. 30th for J.W. Miller. Lucas Strayer's 26. Brandon Alphin's in the back.
Yeah, Strayer blew it up going straight into turn 1, and he's almost made it back, but he's struggling.
Blew the goose, and there's the caution. Caution is out, and I assume it is for Lucas Strayer. That's just one of those things you can't control. All right, caution is out. I'm going to be quiet here for a second. So you saw some trucks coming to pit road there under this 4th caution. You got to remember, there's only 3 sets of tires in this series. So you got to be very careful and play it by ear when you come and take those tires. I mean, there was a chance if you took tires at that pit stop right there, you're left with 1 set. And we're not even halfway into this race right now. Still got some 77 laps to go. I don't know how to do math. There's 81. But with that said, pace car light's still on. And Milwaukee's definitely playing a monster-like condition here in this race. So pop quiz for viewers. And this kind of goes back to the history of this race here at this track. As I mentioned, this is the 3rd race ever at this track. Does anybody remember the first 2 races and what it was actually called? There was a special name of this race. The first 2 seasons. It's not with that title this season. but there was a name, and it's a nickname of the city of Milwaukee. Let's see if anybody can get this right. If you look at the website, it's actually 1, cheating, but 2, you can get the name of it. Ricky Springer, who is entering this race, 70 career laps led at this track, and has led the most laps. He is the active leader in laps led. Christopher Dean is second. Zach Allman third. J.W. Miller, unfortunately, will stay in fourth. And in season, the second time we came to this track, Bryson Clark won that race back in March of last year. The only one of 2 times we've come here so far. That was Bryson Clark, who has led 37 laps so far in this race, or in this track's history here at GLSR. As Springer leads him back to turn 3. And issues for Dalton Wilson. He's gone off track. And looks like he's going to be okay. So 3 wide back here with Tyler Brewer in that 40 truck. There's Drift in the 14. Brandon Alphin there in that 21. As they try to work their way back up here through the field. Brewer a little bit too high there. Oh! And Alphin almost clears him out. Let's check out these speeds here of what trucks are driving right now. Let's go on board with Alex Cummings. And let's throw up the dashboard here. Let's see what kind of speeds he's running. About 90 miles an hour. Middle 1 and 2. About 145 down to turn 3. Back down to about 90 miles an hour in the corner. So currently 20 trucks on the lead lap. Looks like the last of those is Sam Fontaine here in the 77. He runs in at 20th position right now after his big issues on that restart early in the race that unfortunately caused a pretty big pileup and took down a lot of big names in this race. Barnes looking low on Bryson here. Sammy B has kept that 22 truck clean and up into the top 10. Sam having one of those races where you just want to keep it clean, get to the finish, run all the laps in this race. If you can do that, you can survive. As Luke up under attack, Brian Sutphin there behind him in the 26 truck. Brian, the winner of the opening race of the season. Looking to get his second win of the season there as he runs right behind Canup, about 6/10 or so ahead of Atkins. And there's a defensive move there from Canup. That's twice now I've seen some very defensive maneuvering, and that's going to cause Sutphin to go up the track and almost get attacked there by Caden Atkins. Now, to go back to the trivia question, if you will, what was the name of the race? The first two times we've ran here, it was the Cream City 150. Now, the Cream City nickname is back in the day, when this city was building up back in the early 1900s, all the buildings were cream color. Has nothing to do with the beer. Has everything to do with the color of the buildings. Were cream back then. And that's where the nickname Cream City comes into play. So it was the Cream City 150, the first two trips to the Milwaukee Mile. This being here for the GLSR 150. Go on Wikipedia, you'll find it. Saw some couple battles. Oh, somebody got turned, and I think it's Knupp. Did Sutphin give him the boot? Caution is out for the 5th time here. We might have ourselves a little drama. Let's roll the beautiful bean footage and see what takes place here. Up back here, there's Brian Sutphin behind him. Remember, you saw turn 1 just a couple laps to go where Knupp made that move. Brian Sutphin is one of those drivers. He doesn't play those games. If you're going to do something like that, he's going to take care of you. Let's see turn 1 here. Bumper for you. Stranger, nice save, but I think the message has been sent. And where does this come from? Well, we go back a couple of laps. And watch down the front straightaway here. Actually, it was right there where it happened. So let's back it up a little more as we roll that beautiful bean footage for Mr. Springer. And let's watch the 29 and the 26 here. I mean, hey, I don't blame Brian. I mean, I understand racing's racing, but why are we blocking like this? We did have some trucks go down pit road, and I'm going to watch closely to see if Sutphin ends up getting the EOL for this. I would expect him to because, well, technically he did get the back of Knupp. All right, so right here, it looks like Brian's going to get a good run here. I think it's going to happen any minute here. Going to get a good run. All right, I promise it'll get here in a second. Right now, everything's going well. Good rotation there out of the 26 mid-corner. Right there, Luke gets the wall. That's going to bring Brian up a little closer. Brian gets a good run here. Watch this. All right, it still didn't happen. Come on! I didn't think I'd be showing you 10 laps of a replay. Sorry, I thought I had the right number. See, unfortunately, it doesn't show me, like, when moves like that happen. It only shows the caution. So I have to find the block. Oh, that's when the spin happens. So 2 laps before this. All right, here we go. So coming out of turn 4, Sutphin gets a great run, and watch Luke. And it causes both of them to miss the corner completely. Brian goes up the track, thankfully regains traction and gets back to the bottom. But then obviously it leads to this right here into the corner. And we saw Blaine Sparling a little bit ago. As we go back to green, look who's leading this race. Sam Barnes. Oh, podcast listeners, we're going to have fun. Christopher Dean, Ricky Springer, Caden Atkins, and Drift, your top 5. And I did look, Sutphin, I believe, did get EOL because he restarts 18th. Fontaine leads, Springer right there on the back. Anybody else notice the screen's gotten darker a little bit? And Sam just politely moves over and lets him go by. Going to bring Caden Atkins with him into 56. Alex Cummings is going to come with him. William Martin, a whole freight train of trucks. Surprised Sam's not trying to keep it up there a little bit. Fight, Sammy, fight! Not that I'm cheering on Sammy. I'm trying to talk to him through this race. This is one of those deals where it's like you get certain drivers that you respect out here and run every week, or at least give it their effort every week. And then it's like they get out front for a second, then they just kind of pull over respectfully and nicely, just let everybody go through. It's like, man, you've done the strategy, you've earned it. Go up there and race now. Don't just let them go. Oh, Pierce gets the door shut on him by Knupp. I mean, Ben's already ticked off enough about Tennessee this past weekend. And now you're going to do that? Is Thermal street wide over here. Oh, Drayton Cook and Dalton almost get together. 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Well, this track used to host horse racing. Now we got a bunch of horses horsing around. "60 laps to go." Dean slides up the track. He's going to fall back a lot. He's one that has actually surprised me a little bit today, and I know he has damage from that wreck earlier, but I expected Christopher Dean, who, by the way, won the first race here back in 2020, I expected him to be up front. Everybody kind of settles out a little bit here. You see Dalton getting underneath the 22 truck, and there was Sutphin almost down on the rumble strip there. Is Drayton Cook protecting that bottom lane. So the interesting thing we got to watch now is if Sutphin gets back up there to the front, will Lucas have any kind of a say for him or whatever? Pierce did get by Knupp for position now inside Luke Daniels. That's the 5th spot. Well, I tell you what, this might be an easy pick for Sam and I this week when we pick our driver of the day. And it's no disrespect towards Pierce at all. But Pierce is doing a fantastic job getting around this track.
I agree. He's definitely having a phenomenal day today.
So what are you hearing down there from a lot of people? I don't have chat on. Is it, anything being said about the defensive driving? Because I've seen that of a couple trucks.
Yeah, there's going to be some review after the race. It's been mentioned to him, try to not chase somebody down the front straightaway, trying to block them. Obviously, Sutphen's not, excited about the EOL, but unfortunately, he ran all the way in there and punted him at the time of the incident. So, I checked for it wasn't no braking speed or brake checking, nothing like that going on. It was just hard racing, and he ended up punting him around. I think it's a little early for blocking like that. I think something will definitely be said about it, but at this time, it is what it is. Can't do a whole lot about it,
right.
But he has been kind of warned to not necessarily be excessive about it.
The rule basically is, though, correct me if I'm wrong, is the cause of the caution. The cause of the caution in that case was, unfortunately, Brian getting into the back of Luke, which is unfortunate, but I don't blame him one damn bit for it.
Oh, no, I do not either. He was a little upset, so I muted his chat in the race.
Oh, that's not
session,
nice.
But, well, in my opinion, my way about it, you're not going to say something to hurt my feelings, but don't say anything else that's going to further your punishment. So we're all here to be professional and keep it what it is. So sometimes it's easier just to, hey, I'm going to turn you off for a little bit, let you cool down, and then I'll bring you back in here.
What the hell am I still doing here for?
Well,
keep it a professional.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. You gotta do what you gotta do. I totally understand the call on all ends there, but
no, I think after the race he'll probably say something to me, and I'm sure it won't be an upset way. He's one of the guys that usually might fire off in just a moment, and after that he's just like every other racer, you get level-headed and go back and think about it, and you're like, you know what, that one, that was on me. He was doing that, but I shouldn't have got so aggressive with it. It is still early and whatnot. So I think everything will be all right come the end of the race, but it definitely does stink right there in the moment. I don't blame him. I'd have done the same thing. So.
Do they really stay level-headed, Bubba?
Yeah, well. I can't say much. Stuff like that halfway through a race sometimes will ruin the rest of my race. It just eat inside me and just get the better of me.
I heard that. Miles making a pass on Dalton, bringing Brandon Alphin with him. Miles back up to the 10th position, so great comeback for him. And another driver having a fantastic run. How about William Martin in this Valvoline throwback scheme? Looking pretty solid here, 4th position. William, a one-time winner back at Chicagoland Speedway Season 5, I think it was. You see them put a lap on Bryce McCune, who's another driver. It's had an absolute terrible season so far for him. As Sam Fontaine comes to pit road, so you wonder if something happening with him now. Is Pierce going to go inside of William Martin, take that spot away, move him to 4th. He's about 4.5 seconds behind his teammate, who is having a field day right now with the field, 2.9 seconds.
Maybe Fontaine's thinking about doing the pit window. You did say
true.
that 2 stops. We're right here at, lap 102, so maybe he's doing a pit stop, try to recalibrate his paddles real quick so he doesn't have any more shifting errors and take advantage of it. We'll see what happens.
I don't know if it was, see, that's that thing. If I'm him, I almost go turn the auto blip on. Because I almost think it was a blipping issue.
Well, me and Telder both have the same will as him. He kind of encouraged us to move forward with that, and we had some issues with the paddles right out of the box. The Moza wheels are great, but we did have to recalibrate them in the actual Moza Pit House software. It don't take terribly long, about 20 seconds, I believe is what the actual setup is, but that was one of the issues coming straight out of the box, is we had calibration issues with the paddles. I was actually running a dirt race. Luckily, I didn't need shifting, but literally as I gridded for the heat race, I realized I can't even shift out of neutral. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, luckily I was able to get back out of the car and put it just on a different key to bump it into gear. But and with dirt, you typically don't have to shift,
Right,
so I
usually
was
it's one
lucky
gear.
on that.
As we watch Alex Cummings get to the back end of Caden Atkins here, a battle for second, as Alex having one of his better runs so far this season. The regular season points winner from last season, second in points entering this race. Looking to have another great run. Mr. Consistency, if you will, there in that 63 truck. Now, does that program, does that, the wheel and stuff you have, does that have a software thing, kind of like I have the G27 wheel? Of course, you got the 29 and stuff. I have a program that I can open up really quickly, and it kind of recalibrates my wheel and stuff. Do you have the same kind of thing for that?
Yes and no. I don't know as far. Well, I don't know exactly how your software would go, but it does pretty on-the-spot calibration in different settings. I mean, even as an app for your phone, you can almost literally drive down the straightaway and change a setting in your steering wheel, or they even have the pedals on there, or whatever the case may be. But stuff like that, I mean, it's pretty simple to use, and there's a lot of versatility in there and a lot of things you could change and do different stuff. But I don't know how fast the actual wheel calibration would go, because I've never actually had to calibrate it. But as far as the paddles go, I said I know that one was only about 15-20 seconds, and we were knocked out with it.
The great thing for you and I being in the same Discord is I can actually show you, and it won't go over the stream. But if you look at what I just shared with you, you'll see my little profiler.
Okay.
So yeah, all I did was right-click down in my bottom right corner. It's Caden Atkins goes curve riding into 1 and 2. Cummings trying to get underneath him. But yeah, I just right-clicked and it opens up. And anytime like I play the truck simulator or whatever, this pulls up and it usually auto-calibrates it for me right then and there and lets me go from there. This is as Kevin gets a look at my screen of how I do the broadcast each night now.
Yeah, that's a lot of buttons I don't want to be in control of.
Right? And this is just the OBS program right here.
Yeah, I don't know if you can click over to mine or not, but I just popped it up that you could see there's a little bit of difference there, but not too much, just different pages.
Let me see here what he's looking at here. Oh, Formosa. Okay, yeah. I'm bored. Teller's typing while he's racing out here, guys. I think. Or is he off the track?
I got a text as well from. He said, "Tell Scala I'm bored. I want to come up and talk."
No.
So yeah, he got some damage earlier on. I went down there and talked to him before that last caution. I was like, "Is this a strategy running back here, or you a little under the weather?" And he said that he got some.
Oh, he was in that wreck. You saw him.
Oh yeah,
he got in it. You could see it pretty good.
Yeah, he said he got some good damage when Fontaine had his mishap back on, what was that, lap 39.
Yeah, something like that. Let's here, I'll let you see. Here's my other. I'll share my second screen so you can see my telemetry and stuff. Anyway, Springer leads by 4.6 seconds, and no, we're just enjoying the broadcast is what we're doing tonight, and enjoying the racing here. We're not bored or anything, I promise you that. As Luke Daniels going to go a lap down, it looks like, as Ben Pierce has caught the back of Caden Atkins, the man who won Talladega, and some say a little bit of a controversial way a couple seasons ago, but he is looking to show everyone, hey, this was no fluke of him running up front here. So that 18 truck looking pretty strong. As Fontaine, by the way, is still on pit road. So unfortunately for him, the points leader, it's going to be a big points. It is getting darker on my screen. You notice that, Teller? Let's not scare Ricky. He's got 39 laps to go here. This was about the point of the race, too, if I remember correctly, when it went completely dark. Reba McEntire was singing Lights Went Out in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it definitely misfortune for Fontaine tonight, but I mean, at least on the plus side, he's still going to technically get more points than if he was to take a provisional. So
true.
Looks like he's scoring right now in 25th position. I believe McCoon just passed him lap-wise, and I believe Tim Abrell just is further back. Yeah, about 20 laps. I don't think he's still running right now.
I don't know if I'm very comfortable with Telder playing rock, paper, scissors while being lapped by the leader.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull him into the Oval Office later about that one. So
I'm just saying, I'm like, he's typing, and I'm like, you just want to lap down over here. Oh, boy.
the bad thing is, though, is if the leader knew what exactly he was doing, he'd probably join in with him.
As Pierce was right there on the back of Atkins. Atkins has kind of stepped it up, and he slid up the track just a little bit, almost opened the door there. Couple young cats here battling for third. You see Alex Cummings is driven away. And Caden catching that curve again. Say that 3 times fast. Appreciate the viewers watching tonight and all the racers who are supposed to be racing. Josh, stop appeasing to Mr. Telder.
Yeah, Josh is definitely
Not helping
enjoying
you.
having somebody to chat with over here.
Oh, 3
Unfortunately,
wide
he
into
can't
turn
race
1.
with us.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Watch Blaine take her 3 deep there with Cedric Ingram, and I think it was another lap truck of Bryce McCune there.
Yeah, this lap traffic's getting a little dicey here and there. They're little splotches where they're kind of still 2 or 3 trucks piled together at the same speed, just somewhere along the track, and they're hitting them here and there in different corners and making for some dicey moves. And I'm wondering if we'll see maybe somebody catch up to somebody and use them as a pick to maybe get around them and pass them.
Sean Peachin's ordered pizza already, apparently. He's out of the race tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I am noticing, though, is all the words are being spelled correctly in Telder's chat, so I wonder if it's actually Telder's kid.
I'd hope he's in bed by now. He is a little guy.
I don't know. My 4-year-old's not in bed yet, or about to be 4.
Oh shoot, my 2 and 4-year-old comes 7 o'clock. That's when we start putting them down by 7:30.
Oh, we try that,
in
but
trouble.
I checked with my wife. I'm like, what's she doing? Watching Mary Poppins? I'm like, oh dear.
Yeah, we start a little earlier. That way you get all the stalling and the water breaks and the snacks and whatnot out of the way. And it's like, yeah, it's time to go to bed, bud.
Watch Sparling here inside of William Martin. This is for 6. Martin's starting to kind of fall off here with his tires. Sparling's going to go by, and then here comes the 8 truck of Drayton Cook having his best run of the season so far. And then Brian Sutphin right up there behind him has driven up to 9th after that EOL. I'm sure there's a little smoke coming out of that 26 a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm sure there's still a little bit of steam rolling.
All right, somebody go find Josh Gagnon's house. His cast is coming off. Kick him in the ankle.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do that one.
All right, so Ricky Springer leads this thing by 6 seconds now over Alex Cummings. 31 laps to go, and I want to say this has been about our longest run of the race here. So let's see. We pitted at lap 82, which is 68 laps to go? Question. And maybe Peachin can answer this. How far can they go on fuel?
Yeah, that's pretty borderline, I'm thinking. Definitely going to be interesting, especially if we have a green-white checkered. That's going to stretch it out there, probably a little out of the window.
Yeah, so it's going to be very tight here. Obviously a 1-mile track, a lot of off-time, but of course a lot of on-time throttle coming off the corner all the way down to straightaway. Sean says 75 laps, so it looks like we're good to go on fuel. Thank you, Sean. Give me a pizza while you're there, please. If not, you'll be cursed. As William Martin inside of Stephen Miles. Miles and Alphin just kind of teaming up and just trying to get as much position-wise as they can as they work the top side of that 00. 1:28 to go. Ricky Springer looking for win number 12 of his career, which would put him 1 win behind Zach Allman. Oh, there's a mix of a name. Zach Allman in the all-time wins, which is interesting because we talked a little bit about the Mount Rushmore on the podcast this week here for the GLSR. And we talked a little bit about the Mount Rushmore of this league. It was brought up actually, I think it was in the broadcast, was it last week or something? I don't remember exactly where it all came from, but basically it was brought back up in the podcast, and we started naming off who ours was. And one of the things I said, and I think some people disagreed, obviously, was Ricky Springer. Does he deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore already?
Imagine that.
Well, it was a fair discussion. I had no problem with what anybody said. That I don't disagree that Ricky doesn't belong on there or does belong on there. I'm just stating if I had my choice, I only say this because I feel that he has not, I don't want to say done enough races, but again, when you take all of season 3 and then he ran a portion of season 5, that's it. And then now he's run half of season 8, so he's technically run 2 full seasons now in races, and that's it. And I feel like, yes, his winnings and stuff like that, absolutely incredible. What he's done in those races. I just feel like he's right on the cusp of it. But I felt that in that case, the fourth person I put on there was Travis because of him finding the league and putting this thing together. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Travis and for Sam. So I feel like they deserve their spot there. And then you got 3 drivers. And I feel like the 3 drivers we've had at this moment is Sam Fontaine, Zach Allman, and William Calhoun. But I could easily see Ricky by far the next person on that mountain, even though there's only 4 heads, so you got to remove somebody eventually. Then the question becomes, who do you move? So there's so much to discuss in that thing, which actually got me the idea of thinking a little bit here. Maybe it's something that I kind of plant the seed for right now.
Yeah, I mean,
we're 8 seasons into this league now. Okay, we're about to start season 9 next season. It's almost to the point. When does this league look into maybe having a Hall of Fame? I'm planting that seed now.
Maybe season 10, make it just an official, actual straight
Right.
10, and after that we can start retiring some of the drivers, and maybe even a number.
Right, I'm just saying, I mean, for Travis and for Sam, this is the point where, you've had at least 100 to 200 drivers probably starting this league at one point. A race. So, I mean, there's plenty of room to start opening up, and a lot of the drivers still from season 1 are here, but you've got drivers from season 1 that aren't here anymore. So I think that just comes into play of who you put where and how many maybe you do. There's so many factors that come into that.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have said, oh, the competition wasn't as stiff back then, but I feel like Ricky's done nothing but prove himself this season. I mean, he's put himself in position early on. He had some misfortune. He almost won Atlanta and a late restart thanks to Mr. Peachin. Unfortunately, he lost that one after carrying a 5 or 6 second lead. And, I mean, he's the last 3 races he's been in the top 5, and he's stretched out to almost a 7 second lead right now. I mean, he's definitely come in here strong this season and has shown that he belongs here and that he is a force to be reckoned with. And I think it's going to be a good battle all season long between him and Mr. Fontaine.
Oh, hold on, Ben. Ben got very loose there. I've been watching his battle with him and Caden. They've been fighting clean, too. It's been great racing here for 3rd. But, no, and again, I don't disagree with that. And I'll explain why I put those 3 on there. I kind of said it on the podcast, but I'll say it again. Zach Allman, by far has been the best driver in this league's history so far, with what he's done stat-wise, all from season 1 to his last race in season 7. Up until this season, I believe it is, or was it last season? One of the 2 seasons. He had won a race in every season, and he was the only driver that could do it. Until, unfortunately, he stopped running.
Yeah, that's definitely a good stat to have
that's
on your
all
side.
stuff right there. I mean, he's only 2-time champion in this league. He's the winningest driver right now in this league. There's 3 things right there for you. William Calhoun, first ever champion in this league. I used the Richard Petty comparison, and only from the standpoint of how many seasons and how many races he ran with a crew of people that, I mean, he was lapping fields on road courses. I mean, that kind of stuff. So that's where I put him up there right now. I would say maybe he's the first one that comes off when Ricky goes in. I wouldn't argue that. Fontaine, he is in his 4th or 5th season now, I want to say. If he makes the final 4, it'll be 4 straight seasons of doing that. Nobody's done that. He's got a championship now. He's
Plus
up in the top 5 in wins.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I agree.
So that's why I picked those 3 and then put Travis up there for being the owner of the league. That's the only reason I don't have Ricky up there. It's not anything bad on Ricky's part at all. So, like, when I say this, I don't want people to think, oh, he doesn't want Rick. No, it's nothing to do with that. So, back to the race. 15 laps to go before said Ricky works his way to his 12th career win. This has been the best battle on the track by far. These guys fighting for the 3rd position. We do got some other battles. Blaine Sparling and Brian Sutphin about a second apart for each other back in 7th and 8th. Alphin and Miles, they've been kind of side-by-side-ish for the last couple laps. They're about 8/10 apart now. William Martin is just free-falling back to 12th. Drift is back in 16th right now.
Let's say Mr. Pierce has closed back up the gap on Mr. Atkins. I think it's going to be, he's actually side-by-side with him going down the back straightaway. I think he's going to try to overtake him here.
I think, well, he gets loose going in, got on the brakes too much. That truck was all types of sideways, loose in, but he should be able to clear him off here. So move Ben to 3rd. It took him all of about 30 laps to clear him, but finally does. You see Luke Canutt back there right behind him.
Yep, very patient, consistent, kept the nose clean. I mean, that's what you got to do to be in the top 5 finish here. I mean, you gotta be patient. And it's 150 laps. You can't rush it and try to get around them, all at once and on the same lap. And you got to work on them, tire them down, put the pressure on them in the mirror, and wait till they make a mistake and capitalize on it.
Atkins fighting that wheel off the corner. You can see that truck just too loose off, which means probably way too much wheel center corner, which creates that tight, loose condition. So we talked about the fuel. Everybody can go about 75 laps. The question now is we're working on lap 138 this time by. We've been green for 56 laps. How much is the right front tire taking a pounding?
Yeah, lap times have definitely fallen off, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more people sliding further back now and drifting up in the corners. They've definitely ate them up some. I mean, hopefully some of these guys that have been possibly saving are making their way back forward. I know Sutphin, he's moved up. He's back in the 8th position. I'm sure if we got a caution, he'd move up even further, but right now the field's kind of stretched out. He's doing what he can to kind of gain traction, but he's definitely made a good charge back to the front.
Bryce McCune taking his truck behind the wall. And look right here. 2 trucks in front here. You got Drift and Bryson. Those two almost hit, Dalton Wilson and Drift up there battling. Look at the truck in front of Dalton Wilson. The guy who restarted this race in the lead is about to go a lap down. Sam Barnes there in the 15th position. He is like, somebody throw something on the track.
Yeah, Sam Barnes is definitely a good guy, but I don't think I could accidentally hit the button for him. Not this time.
Who said you accidentally hit it?
I mean, yeah, at that point, I'm going to make everybody mad, so I might as well just own up to it. I mean,
Hey,
clearly I'm not a fan favorite in this league, so...
Oh, come on.
Hey, well, if people liked me, that means I'm not doing my job right, so...
Christopher Dean with issues. And he is taking it off the track. No caution. I was about to say, hey, that's going to be right on cue.
Yeah, no kidding. I was going to be like, well, put my foot in my mouth on that one.
Canup got by Caden Atkins for 4th, and then Atkins gets back underneath him.
Yeah, you'd think, you know, team strategy here, he'd probably not race each other so hard and let Luke run up there and see if he could catch Ben, get more, team points and better finish for them, but I guess they're going to race each other hard. Hopefully there's no contact involved.
This ain't Formula One. Let them race. As we come to 6 laps to go, the battle on. They're about 2 seconds behind Pierce. They probably wouldn't even have caught him. As we got 7 laps to go, Canup trying to run a groove that really hasn't been ran all night, all the way about halfway up the track, and finally Atkins going to take the position away. I was going to say, is Canup about to put the bumper to his teammate?
I don't know. I was going to ask, is he going to give him the bump and run, or is he, going to clear the pass and throw the block on him? What are we going to see here?
I'll say that would be an interesting conversation amongst teammates. As he'll come to 5 laps to go inside of Jason Branch, goes to 51. How big of a revenge this would be from that dreaded race in March of last season, when a error by whoever put the race together put the race too late in the afternoon, and the race got dark, and unfortunately had to make a switch, and everything happened to where Ricky was not able to rejoin the race and finishes 22nd, when all he did was absolutely dominate that race. And here he comes off turn 4. He'll have 4 laps to go for what will be revenge for the 51 truck.
I mean, it's not a significant gain, but I will say Alex has closed it up to just at a 6.1 second interval. But, I mean, it is positive. He is moving up, so we'll see if maybe it's just lap traffic or maybe his tires are a little bit better on this long run. Really ain't got that much time unless something drastic happens with a few laps to go, but you never know.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of things. Also, Ricky's probably taking it very easy around these trucks because he doesn't want something to happen as he comes up on Telder right now in the 2 trucks. So I think they're just trying to...
Anytime getting next to Telder, especially when he's playing rock, paper, scissors in the chat, you don't want to force the issue.
Ricky might want to go to the apron in both corners, which actually there's no apron in turn 3, so... 2 laps to go. For Springer as he crosses the line. 6.3 second lead. And now Ricky comes to the line, 1 mile to go, white flag. The revenge of the Springer at the Milwaukee Miles. He has just absolutely dominated the lead over half the race. He survived some accidents and different things happening. As he'll go through turn number 3 and 4, it'll be his 2nd win of the season, 12th career win. And in dominating effort at the Milwaukee Mile tonight, Ricky Springer claims the trophy in the win. As Alex Cummings will get 2nd, Ben Pierce gets 3rd with Caden Atkins and Luke Canup in the top 5. Drayton Cook finishing 6th, Sparling, Sutphin, Miles, and Alphin going to be the rest of the top 10. And for Brandon, it's lights out on the field. We'll let him do his burnouts, and we'll talk to him in just a second.
Definitely a good race for the 518 Motorsports team. That's for sure. Got a first and third.
All right, so Ricky Springer wins the race, and yeah, absolutely a fantastic race, as Kevin talked about a little bit. Some just comers and goers throughout the field here as we take a look at the finishing order for the just here for the GLSR 150. Springer wins it over Alex Cummings. Ben Pierce finishes third. Caden Atkins fourth, and Luke Knupp finishes fifth. Drayton Cook, Blaine Sparling, Brian Sutphin comes back to finish eighth. Stephen Miles, Brandon Alphin finishes in 10th. A lot of those trucks in the latter part of the top 10 all suffering damage in this race with that big wreck and so on and so forth. Jason Dalton 11th, William Martin 12th. Alex Bryson gets his finish that he's been looking for all season long, finishes 13th. Jacob Gladulich, or Drift if you will, 14th. Jason Branch 15th. Sam Barnes finishes 16th. Tyler Brewer and Matt Telder finishes 17th and 18th on the field. And the rest of your 30 trucks that made the start here at the Milwaukee Mile. Will Martin mentioned finishing 12th. Cedric Ingram 20th. How about Casey Duncan finishes 19th in the race? Dalton Wilson 21st. Luke Daniels 22nd. Dean 23rd. Bryce McCune 24th. Sam Fontaine 25th. Tim Averill 26th. Lucas Strayer, who was third in points entering this race. That's probably not going to be happening anymore. He's 27th tonight. Sean Peachin already probably 3 bites deep into his pizza. 28th. 29th going to, work with me, Jeremy Freer and J.W. Miller, unfortunately, finishing in the 30th position tonight. As I think my timing and scoring is playing games with me. But anyways, and let's talk to some drivers out of our top 3. And let's start with easily, I think we can go ahead and say this tonight. I'll speak for Sammy B tonight, Ben, but I would say the drive of the day goes to you. What a fantastic run for you tonight. I know it's been kind of up and down most of the time, maybe running there in that, 6th to 15th area most nights and things like that. But outside of that restart, I mean, you were up in the top 3 all night long, and a fantastic effort on your part.
First of all, thank you, Scout. This was a track that when I was considering making a return, it made my eyes get pretty big. I was very excited to return here. Second of all, I am exhausted. That was
I was
I'd say
wondering.
quite the drive. It is hard to pass on old tires, so having to work my way up through the field. A lot of guys are running very well, very strong, good competition. Obviously, I knew Ricky and Fontaine would be the 2 guys to beat. And even without Fontaine, you had other guys up in the top 5 that were very, very quick. So it was it was a tough race, but I'm happy with the result. I would have loved to go 1-2 as the only 2-car team, but a podium will it definitely feels really really good after the season.
What is it about this track that makes your eyes kind of bulge out there a little bit?
I don't know, really. I mean, I don't know if it's the long straightaway into braking because USA is another favorite track of mine, but contrast that with New Hampshire or Martinsville, and they aren't necessarily my favorites. So it might just be running in the truck. I've run in the ARCA car and had luck there as well. So maybe it's just something I can't describe.
Well, it was a great effort on your part, and it's kind of weird. You kind of mentioned Martinsville and New Hampshire not being a favorite. I would say those two are probably more like this track than USA, but nonetheless,
Perhaps, yeah.
still still a great job on your part, and great third place finish, great race, and shout out to whoever you like to, bud.
Absolutely. Just Ricky for giving me advice during the race. RMP Motors for being a longtime sponsor, of course. GetSoap.com, good friends, good people. Um, show some support for them, and just everyone who makes this league happen. For you, for the admins, for um, just all the sponsors. And I know there's a lot that goes into it. When I stepped away, I tried running a league myself. I know how hard it can be. I know what guys have to deal with. So lot of appreciation there.
There you go, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations on your top three, and we will see you Myrtle Beach next week.
Thanks. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. As Ben Pierce finishes in the third position, one of two of the 518 team to finish in the top three. We'll talk to the winner here in just a moment. Right now, going down to the old Lap 1 Legends, LOL, and talk to Alex Cummings, who just continues to knock him out week after week with great finishes. And tonight, Alex, a big points night, as you're going to gain a good amount of ground on that 77 truck with a second place race. Obviously, you were in the middle of that fracas as that wreck broke out. What was the first thought that came to your mind? And to come back and get a top two out of this, that's got to make you smile.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think we're having difficulties. Didn't
What?
bring him up all the way into the booth, so I
Well, what the heck?
think he accidentally grabbed Daniels.
Oh, well. I grabbed the fourth wheel, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I don't think he was interview worthy.
Yeah, good point. All right, let's try to skin Alex. We were just starting to say you saw that wreck right there in front of you, pretty much all around you, and you were able to survive that and work your way to a second place finish.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I guess, and I think that's really the only reason why I finished second this evening. I definitely only had like maybe a top 10 truck at the best, but I got lucky there.
Talk about points wise here, because Sam obviously finishing 25th. You finished second. Big gain for you tonight.
Yeah, especially with how Talladega went last week, I really needed something here and wasn't really thinking I was going to get it, but thankfully just didn't get caught up in the wreck and was able to have some great battles there at the end with Caden and Ben. And finally, once I got around Caden, just I guess used up too much tires and I didn't have anything for Ricky, so just trying to hang on a second as best I could.
How good of a night is this for you? Obviously, you mentioned the Talladega race where it seemed like you were in everything, and to come back here to a track that to show up and feel like you got a top 10 truck, get a second place finish, it's got to be a pretty good feeling for you and the team.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps, and just get as many points as I can. Only thing I need to kind of start working on is getting some bonus points, because I feel like those are gonna help a lot. And like we said all season, it's with the stack field. I think it's gonna be who can ever get the most top tens and top fives is gonna pretty much secure your spot in the playoffs.
There you go, my man. Well, great job tonight. Send some shouts whoever you like to.
I just thank everybody on Lap One Legends for helping. Hate that they got involved in that wreck, and then shout out to everybody that puts on the league and helps with it. Thanks to you for broadcasting, and give a shout out to my dad out there. He should be watching.
Absolutely, Mr. Todd Cummings. Hopefully he was watching tonight. But great job, Alex, on your part, and we'll talk next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, you too, buddy. Alex Cummings finishing in the second position for Lap 1 Legends, and great race on his part. Good comeback after, you mentioned the Talladega incident there and what took place there. And speaking of Talladega, Ricky had a rough run there too, but he comes back here tonight and gets the ultimate revenge on a track that back in March of 2021, we sat here and he was all types of angry. Matter of fact, I think we talked for like 2 hours afterwards about how angry he was. And basically, it was March 24th, oh, by the way. And here you are tonight. You just blow the field away. And, well, for a little bit, obviously, you and Sam had your battles. But then after the long run, you just pulled away and was able to stretch it out there, get yourself a big win, and now 1 win short of that all-time record.
Yeah, absolutely. This Bubblicious Ghost Energy TRD Tundra was on rails tonight. I mean, saving tires was a huge deal, and me and Ben had worked back and forth trying to save him the whole race. And I was upset to see Sam go because I really did want to race him. We had some great battles there early on, and I was excited to see what happened when we got into them long runs and see if he could save it. But overall, a great race. I mean, there was calamity at the beginning, but overall for everybody in the league, I think it was a good night.
I got to throw this out there a little bit just to kind of joke and Kevin and I were kind of saying this just now. Were you aware as you were passing certain individuals that they were playing rock, paper, scissors in chat?
I in fact was not. If you'd like to tell me more though, I'm interested.
He was driving a 2 truck.
I see.
Yeah, he was over here playing rock, paper, scissors with Gagnon as you were lapping him at times. I'm like, man, this is probably not the right time to be doing this.
Yeah, we were getting our on track updates through text messages from the 2 truck.
So
there's nothing wrong with that. Just having a little fun, I guess.
Right. So let me ask. Obviously, you're one that's in good shape because you got to be with what you do for real work and stuff like that outside of here. How are you feeling? Because I see some people talking about their arms are hurting and stuff, and legs from the braking and the turning and the battling stuff. How are you feeling?
Well, I hit legs today at the gym, and honestly, I was. Well, yeah, they were sore already, but going off in the corner, I really wasn't using too much brake, just kind of on the throttle and just letting it roll. And thankfully my force feedback isn't turned up too much, so arm day yesterday isn't bothering me too bad.
There you go, man. Well, hey, great job. I know it's got to feel good to get that second win and another great points day.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we needed. We had some struggles early on, and we're still early in the season, so hopefully this will kind of start momentum. We got it a little bit started and kind of stalled out. So hopefully this kind of gets the ball rolling for us.
How about your teammate there finishing third tonight?
Absolutely. I mean, he surprised me. I mean, in practice, he was faster than me for a while. So, Ben did a great job tonight. I mean, really, everything we talk about during the race is to try and make each other better. And, he was giving me tips that I was using and I was giving him tips. So really it was a team effort to get first and third. And hopefully that's something we can both kind of roll with through the rest of the season.
There you go, man. Well, great job. Go celebrate with the team. Congratulations. Send shout outs whoever you like to.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I do one question. We had a lot of turmoil about it early on in the race. What was your take on the setup? I know coming from you, you're usually win, loss, whatever. You're going to give us your honest opinion. How'd you feel about it?
I'll be honest. Early on in the run, it felt great. Early on in the run, it was loose. It was difficult to drive. You really had to put it on the penny. But, towards the middle of the run, didn't like it too much. It was tight. It was hard to turn the center, and then about after lap 25, it started loosening up again, and it really became a driver's truck at that point.
Were you hitting the chip like some of the other ones were saying mid to later on down the back straightaway?
Oh, absolutely. There were some laps. I mean, in my qual lap before the race when we were qualifying, I was hitting the chip just after the flag stand. But the chip didn't bother me too much. I mean, it kind of gives you a good marker on when to kind of let off the gas and get into the corner.
I got you. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of run that over, get your opinion about it. And I said we heard a lot about it early on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. But like you said, Chris, I just want to thank Ghost. Everything that they do, being on the truck here and then being on the Cup car in the area league as well. Just everything that they do, kind of supporting me and supporting what I'm doing here on iRacing. UNOH as well for being on the truck. I had added them this week. They wanted to be a part of it as well. My teammate, 518 Racing, Ben, it's a 2 truck team, and we're trying to do our best to both be in the playoffs. But also like to thank you guys. Chris, you do a great job. I work with you on Sundays, and I really like what you're doing, and I think you can go far with it. So I appreciate everybody.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job on your end. Congratulations on the second win of the season for you. And next week it's Myrtle Beach in a truck, so I get to do some short track racing. Should be a lot of fun there. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing you back Sunday night for some other racing too.
Absolutely. Maybe we can throw some more jokes out there, but appreciate it, Chris.
Hey, these guys don't even realize that we dropped their old mantra in that broadcast Sunday night. We said lap cars matter, and nobody has said a word to us about it yet.
I had told Ben about it, so
okay.
he said he wasn't the forefront of it, but he took appreciation of it.
All right, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ricky Springer, the winner tonight. And hey, basically, long story short, in that whole deal was it turned into a situation where I think a lap car got in the way of something happening. And it opened up the door perfectly for the old, you know what? Lap cars matter, I guess, in this case, don't they? And yeah, there it was. We brought it back out for that night, so it was a lot of fun. Congratulations to Ricky on the win there. Kevin, appreciate your hard work there as an admin. Had to do a little bit of work tonight, but go sit back and enjoy the rest of your week, and appreciate your hard work, bud.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't terrible. I expected worse, but I think it was a good race overall, and
Yeah.
I a little worried about the even shorter tracks coming up here in the next couple of weeks, but I think it'll be good.
Yeah, we'll be all right. So Myrtle Beach will be fun next week. We'll go sit on a beach somewhere or something. Anyways.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. So,
Yeah,
but
well,
thank you for having me up here as always, and we'll definitely catch you next week.
You betcha. And appreciate all the viewers watching us here this evening. Big shout out to Black Horizon, of course, for sponsoring the series, the Black Horizon Brewery Truck Series, and big shout out to the Just Here for the GLSR podcast. I'm sure we will be talking about the 5 or so laps that Sam Barnes led tonight in the race, so we'll probably recap that. We'll recap this race, maybe get a guest on this week. And I got to catch up on the what are you thinking? Because I didn't even have any last week. That's why we didn't do a segment. I'm like, man, I can't even think of one. But maybe we'll have to bring up the conversation about a Hall of Fame potentially in the future for this series. So it might be a great topic since we hit the Mount Rushmore. Why not maybe look into a Hall of Fame in the next couple seasons or so, and maybe think about who would be that first class. That would be a good combo to have, I think. So anyways, appreciate everybody watching here on the stream tonight. Gonna work on the whole flight thing. I'm actually gonna continue downloading here as we go, and make sure you pay attention. I'll put a Twitch stream in GLSR's Discord when I do get it up and running, and we'll go from there. So anyways, everybody enjoy the rest of your night. And congratulations, Ricky Springer, on the victory. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Straightaway at the Brickyard. Now he's actually going to go to victory lane at the Brickyard. JW